You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Wednesday, December 13th. The 49ers are the 1 seed and looking to keep it that way after their Week 15 clash with the Arizona Cardinals this upcoming Sunday. No bird is safe on this bird-killing tour that the 49ers are on right now. Joining me to talk about what we've learned about the 49ers after Week 14's win over the Seahawks, plus the latest disrespect of Brock Purdy, is John Chapman and Wayne Breezy. How you doing, fellas?
Hey. It's good to be here. Doing great.
Wednesdays are just a blast because this is a little earlier than I usually go live. It's fun to like start the morning off. Like my coffee is full and I'm just like, I'm a morning guy. That's just what I am. So I'm pumped to be here. And, you know, we got some disrespectful comments. I'm going to kind of get some stuff off my chest today. And I couldn't be here with two better people. So Steph, Wade, always love being with you guys, everybody in the chat. Let's go. Don't hold back today. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, we're not going to hold back. It's definitely going to be a good show for you guys today. But before we get into those comments, we'll definitely get into that. Let's talk about Week 14 really quick. You know, the 49ers swept the Seahawks, second year in a row that they do that. It feels great. We love to see it. And I just felt we saw some new things from this 49ers team. I learned some things about them, I think, after this win. And I'm going to talk about it, but I was curious to know what you guys kind of felt. If you guys kind of felt the same way, and what did you kind of learn about the 49ers in Week 14's win?
I mean, I learned that they can be trailing and come back and take a lead, and after that, it's pretty much a wrap. I learned that the defense can close out games again. That's always something good to see. They just remain balanced, and they get bruised but never broken, right? So like they'll give up something, but they'll get it right back, and then they'll find a way to tighten the clamp. So the Niners are just adjusting very well this late in the season. You know, in normal football, if you're first place, you already clinched the berth in the playoff spot. You could kind of start resting vets, but the way the new NFL is set up, it can't go down like that. So I hope the Niners continue to clamp down on whoever it is that they have in front of them on the schedule.
Yeah, I think, picking up with what Wade said, the 49ers have been red hot or kind of cold during these, last 8 games. Like everything's clicking or they're struggling. This one was a little different. They were able to overcome kind of, humps in the road or whatever you want to call them, where it just kind of stalled one thing for the offense, but it didn't hurt the defense. And they were able to just consistently, methodically do what they wanted to do. Yeah, the defense gave up some points, and probably one of the most duct tape type performances for the defense, where they just got the job done. Wasn't as dominating as perhaps some of the other victories have been, but the offense, 1 touchdown a quarter the entire game. Consistent, methodical, doing what they wanted to do. The turnovers kind of took some points off the board, but when you win a division game by 12 points, that is huge. And now the 49ers have won 11 straight division games. Nobody in the NFL is even perfect this year in the division besides the 49ers. We're the only ones, and we went 6-0 last year during the regular season. So you win your division first. That's every single team's first goal. Niners have accomplished that.
Yeah, and definitely for me, one of the bumps in the road, as you kind of alluded to, John, were the injuries, and especially on the defensive side of the ball, right? Like Eric Armstead not being in this game, other guys needed to step up. Then we saw Greenlaw, miss a series or two, and also they're dealing with other injuries that existed before this game even happened, right? And so I wanted to highlight just the guys that stepped up in this one, because I think that really helped this defense, carry on with their mission here against the Seahawks and be able to come out of the game with the win. The big one for me was Javon Kinlaw. Obviously he was the first guy in line to get more opportunity with Eric Armstead being out, and coming off of a great game against Philadelphia, maybe his the best game of his career. He followed that up with another solid game against the Seahawks. 4 pressures, 1 sack, 3 hurries, 2 stops. And then I also got to give props to Deommodore Lenoir because Mooney Ward exited the game in the first defensive series, right? So he was obviously big in week 12 and in stopping DK Metcalf. Well, okay, Lenoir, you're up next for DK Metcalf. Like, that's on you now. And he turned in a great performance. He was targeted 5 times, but only allowed 10 yards, 2 pass breakups, 2 forced incompletions. And he was the highest coverage grade from the 49ers team, according to PFF. And then finally, like, Jair Brown, I got to give him his props because I felt like he's been good these last few weeks, right? Like filling in for Talanoa Hufanga. Again, that's an injury that's been out there, that's been a thing for the last few weeks, right? Jair Brown's been playing at safety, but for me, this was one game where he really stood out and he really stepped up and is showing me that he's just going to continue to improve every single week. He was around the ball multiple times. I know he had that 1 interception, but there was a lot of times where he was just there. Like even in the first downfield attempt to DK Metcalf, the one I think that's where Mooney Ward got hurt. Jair Brown was there too, and he was kind of in position to make a play on that ball as well, had Mooney Ward not been there as well. So Brown is just like he's got a good feel for where the ball is going to be. He's shown great athleticism going downhill, a lot of versatility as well, and he was the 49ers highest graded defender coming out of that game against the Seahawks. So these are all guys that have stepped up like in big ways, and there's other guys too, right? Like I mentioned, Greenlaw being out, and we didn't even really notice because the defense still did their thing. They were still able to get off of the field. Wayne, you're a little skeptical there. What would you think?
Now we noticed when Greenlaw was off the field. the moment he got injured on that play where it should have been a tackle for no gain, and Kenneth Walker III gets like 20-something yards out of it. Like the moment he got injured, he went down. Next couple of plays, it was a touchdown right down the middle to Kobe Parkinson. And I'm looking out there and I'm like, oops, D. Winters on the field. It's DFF on the field. Dre Greenlaw's not on the field. That's when I noticed. But I understand what you mean. I wasn't trying to push back. But I noticed on that play. Like at least that play, that series.
Yeah, no, I mean, those are all fair. I think like the point is that the problems that maybe showed themselves in the losses, we haven't really seen that. We haven't seen like the defense revert to like their old ways, and that's tough when you have guys coming in, and Isaiah Oliver had to come in at nickel, and I didn't see anything that impacted the outcome of the game for the defense. Like they still held their own. They still did what they always do.
Agreed.
And credit to Steve Wilkes, man, for having those guys prepared. And that's something I learned about this team. The next man up, I think D. Winters maybe wasn't ready for that. And, they've had a lot of injuries at the linebacker spot. So I do wonder if they'll look into that, maybe sign someone to the practice squad this week. But I mean, just aside from that, I felt like they showed they can overcome a lot of injuries. Like if you were going into this game and you think they're gonna not have Eric Armstead and they're not gonna have Mooney Ward, I would not feel confident. Like I didn't feel great when Mooney Ward went out of the game, but the 49ers prevailed. So.
Yeah. And like you said, they found a way to step up. Like the depth found a way to make their mark on the football field. And shout out to the ones that you highlighted. And then talk about the rookie Jair Brown just to cap off. I mean, that's what he does. He's a lurker. He can play free safety. He's a ball hawk. All those names, and he's a big hitter with tackles for loss. I think the only area where he's struggling is his depth and how to play between free safety and strong safety. And I think being a rookie, that's the only thing that's hindering him because he just wasn't getting the reps. And so, like, your hope next season, if Tashawn Gibson is not going to resign or he retires or however it works out. This is why they drafted Jair Brown. They traded up. They got in that third round. It was like, listen, let's get this kid. We could bring him in here. He clearly has the skill set. He has the mental to play football for the San Francisco 49ers. But once he gets those reps and gains that concept on depth, he's going to be just fine. And you got Steve Wilkes working with him, and I think that's the key to this young secondary, and that to me was the key to this game. Like the secondary actually stepped up, and they're all young guys.
Yeah, and again, the last 2 years, the last 2 drafts, the 49ers traded up for one player, Jair Brown, and so that tells you right there who they love. Mosquito Killer, what's up, Shotty? Says Jair Brown playing better than Huff this season. I wouldn't go that far. But the good games, yes. This game, if you look at just Jair Brown versus the Seahawks, this game and the last Seahawks game, I agree with that sentiment.
He's a Seahawks killer. Yeah.
It's a perfect pairing. And now you go watch last week. That was not Huff standards, right? So, but this is what happens with rookies, and this is why Shanahan believes in the red shirt program, where we're going to sit our rookies, no matter how good they are, no matter how much we love them, and that injuries will be the opportunity that they get to step in. We don't plan for those things, but it was the same with Elijah Mitchell. It was the same for Drake Jackson. It was the same. Their playbook is out there, and the future is beyond bright, especially at this safety position. Because Jair Brown, that thing is freaking straight. His stock is pointing up. Now you're going to pair him with Huff. On top of that, the 49ers have 11 draft picks next year. And I know we don't want to get too much into the future here, but they're the best team arguably right now in football, no matter who you are. They're destroying the other quote-unquote blue chip teams out there. Things are pointing up. And for the defense, I called it a duct tape game, because the injuries stepped up. And Kinlaw, somebody everybody wanted gone. So many people were trying to get this dude out of the building. This guy is turning into a focal point. Kevin Givens, who's like the 5th string defensive tackle, he played arguably as good as anybody on defense this week. So you've got to be able to keep that mentality. Hey, who's up this week? Who is it? Charlie Warner, another guy that you could throw out there for offense. Like, there's just guys that continue to bolster this team and provide quality reps and snap counts, regardless of the situation they're in. The 49ers they're building a juggernaut to where they're not so dependent upon their stars as much. Yeah, you got to have the studs. But if they miss time, like Charvarius Ward, like Eric Armstead, like Javon Hargrave, we're not skipping a beat.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a strength. That's a strength, especially, this late in the season when the wear and tear does catch up. There are going to be some injuries. There are quite a few to track this week. But, it's good to know the 49ers going to have guys who can step up and, shout out Steve Wilkes. Shout out Bobo for the super chat. He says, I'd rather win the Super Bowl than a Purdy MVP for sure. I definitely agree with that, Bobo. I think we all would agree with that. But with that, let's shift the conversation to the offense here, because they're dealing with some injuries too. John Feliciano filled in for Spencer Burford again. Remember, in week 12 he gave up 4 pressures, 4 hurries, and he also had a penalty. But that was his first start on the right side, so we chalked it up as maybe he's not as used to the right side. He'll get comfortable with it. Well, in week 14 he started at right guard again, filling in for Burford, and this time he gave up 2 pressures, 2 hurries, a penalty. So I kind of sense some improvements there for Feliciano. It's not like, a clean sheet or anything, but I think it's still a good sign. And Kyle did say that Spencer Burford is expected back this week, so we'll see what the plan is going forward with right guard. But I kind of get the feeling that Feliciano has maybe earned himself some more opportunities.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised now in the last 4 games of the season if you start to see that rotation that we saw last year with Spencer Burford, especially since he's coming off of another injury and he continues to find ways to get re-injured. I don't know if this is the same injury. And so, look, why not give him half the snaps? Give Feliciano half the snaps. We did it last year with Daniel Brunskill. It worked out in the 49ers' favor. It was better having 2 healthy guys at that position than having 1 unhealthy guy and 1 guy that was healthy. So it kind of makes sense to have them both healthy. So just I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see some rotation. I wouldn't be surprised if Feliciano ends up being the starter this week, due to the progression that you just saw in this past game against the Seattle Seahawks. But let me just make this clear: the whole offensive line is never going to play a perfect game. I don't care if it's Trent Williams down to the Colton McKivitz. Like they're just
Yeah.
they're not built to be perfect, but they're built to work, if that makes any sense. And so the key is to limit those penalties and find a way to continue to help your guys get explosive plays like we're watching right here.
Yeah, I think I'm going to probably say something that most people might not like. Feliciano was great. Yeah, he was by far the best interior offensive lineman of this game. I felt this was Aaron Banks' worst game of his entire career. I going through the tape, this was Banks' best play because he also blocked two guys on that 70-yard open run. You had Feliciano get two guys. You had Banks get two guys. I thought Aaron Banks was terrible. I love Aaron Banks. I was pushing for him to be in the Pro Bowl through the first half of the season. He has not come back to what he was, and I think he might have come back early. So I don't know what the issue is with Burford as far as like how his availability is going to be. Today's Wednesday, so we're going to get that practice report. Man, I'm sorry. Right now, if Burford could come back, personally, I'm fine rotating Feliciano with Banks because he's put up just 6 quarters of just abysmal play. I mean, it's been bad. Now, we know Banks can be good. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if he's just toughing it out for the team, which I know he's a team guy. I'm not trying to take away from what that is, but I'm telling you right now, the play that Banks is putting on tape through the past 6 quarters, it's really, really bad. So this is something I'm concerned about. Now, the good news is you're playing the Cardinals this week, probably one of the worst defensive lines in the NFL. But Banks can't play like this in the playoffs. So I know everybody's been tough on Burford, and probably rightfully so. And I think Feliciano has put together the best tape out of all 3 of them consistently, despite switching sides. But I don't know. Right now, if I had my way, it would be Burford and Feliciano at my guard spots until Banks is 100% healthy. Because when he's healthy, that's fine. But something's not right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I mean, we did see Feliciano do a better job at that left side. I mean, of course, it helps having Trent Williams next to you. But the 49ers have options, and I think that's something good. It's good to have options going into the playoffs, and it seems like the 49ers are willing to explore their options right now, and I like that because, we've seen Deebo Samuel these last few weeks returning kickoffs with Ray McLeod out, and, by the way, Ray McLeod was placed on injured reserve this past week, so it's going to be at least 4 more weeks until McLeod is back as the team's return man. So Kyle Shanahan was asked yesterday, Tuesday, if Deebo will continue to get kickoff duty. And here's what he had to say, quote, "Most likely that wasn't just a decision with Ray being out. It was also a decision we were thinking about going to regardless. Nothing against Ray or anyone. It was just more ways to get a special player like Deebo the ball in his hand. We've got to take that risk reward every week. We've decided to do it the last 2 weeks, and we'll come up with that decision each week here going forward," end quote. So kind of similar to Feliciano, the same thing they said, like, hey, we're actually thinking of giving Feliciano some snaps before he got that opportunity due to injury. Now saying the same thing about Deebo Samuel and getting that opportunity as a return man. But I'm curious. I have my thoughts, of course. I know a lot of people have thoughts on it as well. And those in the comments, please chime in on what you guys think. Are you a fan of Deebo Samuel returning kicks or not?
Look at Wayne's face.
Say it,
Man,
Wayne.
it's that stupid risk reward thing, right? Like Deebo is explosive enough if the blocking is good and he can just make that one guy miss. Yeah. But then if the blocking isn't great and he can't make the one guy miss, he was really good to me the game before this game. He was good in the Eagles game. And then in this game, he was getting cracked. And I was just like, ugh. So I'm worried about the injury. If we could put anybody else back there, I'm cool. But I understand the reward. You know what I'm saying? But then the risk is Deebo's having an explosive year, and you don't want to take away from that. So I Why just put the goddamn rookie back there and let him return the kicks? They only get to the 15 to the 20 anyway. So just let the other guy do it and reserve Deebo. I'm sorry. That's how I feel.
I kind of agree with Wayne, and I'm sorry. I love Kyle Shanahan so much. I'm so thankful he's our coach. I'm calling BS on this quote 100%. Not that he didn't say it. I'm telling you right now, that's a freaking lie. Whenever they announced that Ray was out, he said in his press conference, he's like, I went to talk to Deebo about what would happen. He's like, oh, him and Snyder are already talking about it without me knowing. And now he's sitting there saying, oh, yeah, we were planning to do this beforehand anyway. Like, all right, hold on. I don't know. Maybe Snyder and Deebo were, but I don't think so. And he said the same thing with Feliciano. I didn't think so then either. I love Shanahan. I just think this is a little bit of like whatever. But I don't know, man. If I had it my way, I would put Ronnie Bell back there. I would fair catch every single damn kickoff there is and just start at the 25 and be done with it. Our special teams is trash. It has been trash. Stay the hell away. Just fair catch it. You start at the 25 every single time.
Can I just add that they tried Brandon Ayuk? That ain't work.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, they did do that.
And so, nah.
I like the energy. I do the energy is awesome. In the stadium?
Because you know that if he makes just that one guy, he has the ability to make one person miss bad. Deebo's a tackle breaker.
He did it last week.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But he ain't do it this week. It was almost this week. They were there so quick. I was like, damn, he got cracked. But he got up and still had an explosive game.
Yeah, DFF struggled, man. He got him popped hardcore. And I'll say this, like trusting the rook, like you can trust the rookie on kickoff return. I could field kickoffs. That's easy. Fielding punts, that's
tough.
That's calculus, which is what Ronnie Bell's doing anyway. Different. Ronnie Bell is doing the punts already.
And the way that they're testing Ronnie Bell, even in the punt return game, all his balls are going to the side of the field. So it's like he got to go track it. It's not like it's just in the air. He waiting down. He can fair catch it. No, he has to make the decision. Is it going out of bounds? Is it not going out of bounds? Do I feel this? Do I not feel this? Do I let it go over my head? Like, that's tougher.
Yeah,
let the motherfreaker get the ball in the end zone and take it down. Hit a knee, wave a fair catch. There's a new rule for a reason, Kyle. I don't know.
Nobody's doing that. I don't understand why nobody's doing that.
I don't know.
Call a fair catch.
You can do it. It's a rule.
Well, because, everyone wants to do something. And I feel like, punt returns, especially when you're like a rookie, that's your time to shine and show what you can do,
No, we don't shine on that. We're terrible on that. Put Mitch Wisnowski back there. That dude hit 20 miles an hour. I want to see that dude returning kicks, man.
Now that was surprising.
that was a great play. But there might be something here. Yeah, Debster saying like how doesn't trust the rook. I don't know. I mean, yeah, they trust him enough for him to be out there on punt return duty. Last week he did have one that he fumbled. It went out of bounds. Didn't matter. But
my heart stopped. My heart stopped.
Yeah, like those are the things you don't want to see, right? So, look, I like it for selfish reasons. Like I like Deebo returning the kicks for selfish reasons because I do like the energy. I do think he has the potential to make an explosive play happen there. He can take it to the house. Like if there's anyone on this team who could do it, I'd put my trust in Deebo to be able to be that guy. I liked it for the Eagles game because it's like, against the Eagles, maybe you felt like you kind of needed that oomph,
Playoffs, yes. Must-win game, yes. Cardinals plus 13.5 point favorites. They've got 3 wins. No.
Exactly. I didn't even think it was necessary against the Seahawks either. So while I like it, I think the 49ers could be smarter with when they decide to do it. And I mean, Kyle said, like, we'll look at it on a week-to-week basis. That being said, do they trust Ronnie Bell or someone else to, take that on instead of Deebo? That's the question. Now, if they do, then yeah, let's save Deebo for the Ravens game. That on Christmas, I'd be down to see Deebo.
No problems. Unwrap that present. You know what I mean? Yeah. Right now, you got to keep it under the tree. You can't look at your gifts yet. You got to wait. It's not.
I like that. I like that analogy.
Wayne still says no.
Nah. I mean, because it's the Ravens. I mean, if you lose to the Ravens, you lose to the Ravens.
Non-conference.
Yeah. Like, but still, like, I just X-nay on that. I think at this point we don't need a big play on special teams. I know we get it in Madden, but we don't need it in real life. I haven't seen one ever. So like at this like I said, at this Richie James 18 years ago. Like at the end of the day, like our special teams is our special teams. I don't expect it. If it happens, it happens. But
so bad.
let it happen with these. Go find Deshaun Jameson. He's got to be free somewhere. I would rather it be him. He's got the speed, and that's what he does. We don't have any returners on our team, believe it or not. We have wide receivers, we have cornerbacks, and that's what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex says he wants a special teams touchdown. Oh man. Well,
I would love for one.
It's only been like 14 Christmases. So
yeah, it's been a while. Richie James was the last one to do it, and before that, it was Ted Ginn
Jr.
So
exactly.
It's been a minute, and
minute.
Look, I understand wanting a big play. I get what you guys are saying, where it's like, you've gone this long without a special teams touchdown. Like, they don't need it, right? We just need someone who can get us fair catch it if you want, wherever. The offense could move the ball just fine. It's okay. But what you don't want is someone who is going to be at risk of fumbling and things like that, which I don't know if that's what the 49ers are worried about. Again, like with Ronnie Bell
But you let him return punts, so make it make sense.
Yeah.
Which is worse.
He was bad at kickoff returns, though. Like he
was bad in college too. But like
his speed that's where it shows up, or his lack of speed.
We're not even asking him to return it. We're asking him to go.
I'd hire you, Wayne. I'd hire you right now, special teams coordinator.
You would have one job. Listen, the ball can come to you. If it's in the end zone, let go over your head. If you catch it, take the knee. If it's out of the end zone, that's it. It's one responsibility. Danny Gray's still on the IR, guys.
Yeah, Mike Laskin, where's Danny Gray? Yeah, I think.
Poor Danny.
I think he's. Yeah.
Well, this is another thing that Shanahan does with the roster, because if Danny Gray sits all year on the IR, which he did get injured right before the thing, he had a great training camp. He was doing really, really well. He was meshing with all the quarterbacks, return game. He was back to returning punts and kickoffs, all those things. But if you let him stay on the IR now, his contract tolls. And so you'll get him for a whole nother year on his rookie contract, just giving another opportunity. Same thing we did to Juwan Jennings his rookie year. Same thing we did to Kalia Davis last year. So this is one of those Shanahan things. Now, he got injured right before the season, and Ronnie Bell took the opportunity and ran with it. Now you've promoted Chris Conley there too. And guess what? Danny Gray, who did he back up? He wasn't playing all the wide receiver positions. He backed up Ayuk. Who's the backup to Ayuk now? Freaking rookie Ronnie Bell. There ain't no way he's playing better than Ronnie Bell as a wide receiver. So you don't take him off IR and use a roster spot when you got injuries just for a returner. So I don't think Danny Gray's going to be activated. But the good news about this is we now get him for an extra year. So next year, if he can come out and build on what he did last year, that's beneficial for him.
Yeah, he doesn't get the accrued season this year, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so that's interesting, right? Because for a while now, this season, I'd been thinking like Danny Gray's fallen out of favor because they drafted him for Trey Lance and what you thought Trey Lance was going to be, which would, be this guy with better arm strength and all that. But we're seeing some new wrinkles out of Brock Purdy's game lately, and that could be interesting next year. Brock Purdy with Danny Gray. I mean, we could have even more new wrinkles on this offense. But speaking of that new wrinkle, Brock Purdy joined KMBR yesterday and was asked if, he's always had this ability of throwing the deep ball or if it's something new. And here's what he had to say.
Honestly, I would say it's more a little new just with my game. I've always been known for, the quick game, the intermediate, and then every once in a while I'll push it downfield, but it's not, like what I'm doing now, I'd say. And I feel like that's a testament to obviously Kyle, his play calls, and sort of just his coaching, the last year or so of me just learning the system and being ready to take those shots, take the opportunities to go deep. And then obviously have the guys to do it with, Ayuk and Deebo and all of our guys. So I feel like it's somewhat of a new part of my game, honestly.
Yes. So, I mean, I think we've all noticed. We've definitely all noticed. And it is not just him throwing the ball deep. I think the accuracy has improved like from with each week, right? And I think now we saw this past week him going over the top of defenders, right? He was throwing guys open. The throws that are available to him are growing, it seems. He can throw the middle of the field. Like, that's always been part of his game. 49ers are used to seeing that big whoop. Okay, well, Brock can also throw over linebackers, layered throws. He can throw outside the numbers. He could throw with anticipation. He could throw you in stride. He could throw back shoulder. And now you mean to tell me he could throw it over corners and safeties' heads too? What throw can't he make now? Like, what is his weakness? And by the way, Brock Purdy also said on KNBR that his arm feels stronger now. How long has it been since he's had that surgery? Like, now several months removed from the surgery. Nick Mullins told him
about
that
10 months.
he was gonna fit 10 months. So Nick Mullins told him it would feel stronger like months after the surgery, and he feels like he's at that point now. And you're seeing it with these like deep ball throws now, what we hadn't seen. So is there any weakness to Brock Purdy's game right now?
I mean, I don't know, because we haven't really seen much of a weakness other than the fact I still think if there was one thing I would like for Brock Purdy to try to work on, it would just be his pocket awareness. Like, he has to be able to feel the pocket closing down on him so he can make that quick decision just a little bit quicker than what he's making it. There were a couple of sacks that he ended up taking, and they were obviously on the offensive line for. I mean, Colt McKivitz gave up the first one. Jake Brendel gave up the second one. There's nothing he could have did about that one. That one was in his face. But the first one from Colton McKivitz, it was like, dude, if you just took that step up, if you watched the film, I mean, it was heaven. Yeah. It was him and a linebacker. And it felt like he thought of running it, but he really wanted to make the throw, which, I'm mad, but there's the pressure. And if he can't feel it, he's not going to step up. So maybe he needs to, if he could just work on that pocket awareness, like, you got to be able to feel the cave, concaving on you, closing in on you quicker. But he's been doing a lot better this year with that. So I don't want to say that that's his weakness. He just has to continue to get stronger at it. But the one thing that you didn't mention about Brock Purdy, you talked about the strength of his arm. Let's talk about the strength of his mind. Let's talk about him being able to read the defense. Let's talk about him being able to fool the safety. Let's talk about him able to be able to move the safety. Let's talk about him having confidence because his receivers are great. Let's talk. There's just so much to the reason why Brock is playing Brock football. And honestly, if Brock didn't have these type of abilities, we wouldn't be seeing the explosive Deebo Samuel. We wouldn't be seeing the explosive Brandon Ayuk. They ran the same damn play, Steph and John, 3 times, and they were all explosive plays. Kittle was the 44-yard touchdown. Same damn play. Julian Love. Deebo Samuel. Same damn play. Jamal Adams. Notice, it's the safeties. They are taking it. Brock is brocking right now. I don't know if he's weak, other than the pocket closing on him a little bit faster than what he thinks. He's gotta make that mental adjustment. He'll be good to go.
Man, I think we're seeing something new from Brock. And I know we've only seen him for 17, 18 games now. Brock Purdy completed 0 passes over the middle of the field between 10 to 20 yards. That's his sweet spot. That's the Shanahan sweet spot. 0 against the Seahawks. And a lot of that has to do with, okay, when Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback, what did everybody have to take away? The running game. You stack the box, you force Jimmy G to throw, he's going to struggle. Well, Brock Purdy's been hitting everything over the middle of the field. So we're talking back-to-back weeks, everybody sitting everybody to the middle and buzzing their safeties down to that hook to curl zone. And Brock just says, that's cool. I'll just dice you up outside the numbers 20 yards deep down the field. It doesn't really matter because of how quick he gets through his reads. Wayne just that was awesome. Everything he just said, I wasn't even paying attention to what I was going to say. I was just like, yeah. But like, he's not wrong. Brock Purdy is just doing things right now that are stupid for a 23-year-old quarterback. It's dumb. And, you heard the clip that you played, the audio clip. Matt Campbell at Iowa State, it's the most boring damn offense I've ever seen in the world. In the Big 12, Iowa State literally is trying to play Big 10 football continuously, and it's just boring. It's boring. And so now he's starting to get the opportunity to open up and actually go deep. Pair that with Ayuk, pair that with Kittle, and now Deebo going deep? Good Lord. Like, everything's just coming together. If you're trying to game plan to stop Brock Purdy in this 49ers offense, I don't know what the hell to tell you, because every single wrinkle the defense throws at him, he just does his all shuck shoulder shrug and just walks back to the sidelines after freaking throwing a perfect touchdown. And it just, the kid's unrattleable, if that's a word. And so
it is now.
There we go. I just need more syllables.
It sounded right. It sounded right, John, when you said it. So I'm not going to question.
Texas.
But, I think all of those things are true. And we're seeing, or we've already been seeing, Kyle trust the hell out of Brock Purdy. And Purdy's delivering because he can process things really quickly. Like, yeah, Brock talked about the fact that, like, why he decided to throw that ball to Deebo anyway, because he saw where Jamal Adams went, and he knew he was going to have that. And so that's the mental part of his game, the smarts, the way he processes. And
real
and
quick,
knows what
hold on.
he's seen.
Do you think he saw Jamal Adams flex on Deebo the play before? Because I don't know if y'all saw that. That.
I think so.
Jamal Adams flexed on Deebo the play before they got burnt over the top.
Yo, and what he said was he saw Jamal Adams' feet. So my thing was this:
flat foot read.
Why you looking at the feet? Like your head's supposed to be up. Like if you saw his feet, but hey, he came forward, he saw the feet, and he threw. And Deebo's. I've been telling people Deebo could run routes. Deebo could get down. No one will believe me, but I've been saying that's what Deebo could do. He just hasn't been asked to do it. They found the matchup.
They had a quarterback to do it with him,
and they had the boom. There it is. And now what you're seeing is the inevitable from Kyle Shanahan, because even in that game, I'm like, damn it, it's not enough for me. It wasn't. I felt like we could have beat him like 53-0 if we just continue to execute, if we continue to keep the foot on the gas, if we stop doing stupid penalties and getting off the field on 3rd down and 4th down and not getting false starts and holds on 1st down. Like, it's those little wrinkles, I swear. But the Niners still found a way to overcome it, and they still found a way to sweep the Seahawks.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys heard or saw Deebo saying after the game that he wasn't going 100%, when that play first started, but then he noticed.
Oh, he had to kick the gas on. Yeah.
Yeah, he noticed.
You don't have to go full speed
about
against
to throw, and he's
Jamal
like,
Adams.
"Oh, damn."
Listen.
Well, what I want to say is that I just wonder if we see more effort out of Deebo, because that's kind of been a criticism of Deebo. Like, he doesn't go 100% on every play, but now you have a quarterback who can throw it to you no matter where you are on the field. And even if you are the 3rd, 4th option in the progression, you can still get the ball. That didn't used to be the case. So I wonder if that's what they were used to, so they didn't even bother sometimes. But now Deebo,
that's a good point, Steph. That's a great point, because now, you don't know when you're going to get the ball. There's 4 options every single play. And so you just got to be ready, when it's coming to you. So you got to be ready at all points. But as far as Deebo taking off plays and being lackadaisical, I mean, listen, he was used to playing an offense where the quarterback could have got him killed. Let's just keep it a buck. That's what was happening. I watched George Kittle miss seasons. I watched Deebo get injured. It was just bad throws. Now he has a quarterback that's highly accurate. He has a quarterback that's able. They have a synergy. They have a connection. And so possibly Deebo's life is back. Plus, no one's talking about the incentives he's playing built into his contract this year, because I think he's trying to earn a couple of extra bucks. But he's doing it very well. And I think you got to give Deebo his flowers, because I know a lot of people we paid him a lot of money and he's not performing. Well, he's healthy now, and that's the key.
Yeah, yeah, and I think, again, this was the highest run blocking grade that Deebo has had in 5 seasons. He was out there going all out, and Deebo's just Super Saiyan mode right now. It's just different where he is. But, and a lot of it too, people talk about the effort and whatever else, but a lot of that is just their clear out routes. And the Shanahan passing tree, this is the same true with Dad, there's clear out routes. Whenever you run dagger or dig concepts, whatever, you have a clear out route where a guy doesn't even look at the quarterback. You literally just run straight up the seam, and you've got to pull the safety and the outside corner, and then the in breaking route or out breaking route underneath you. Like, and so like if you just look at what player's doing there, you're like, oh, he's not going all out. But you also notice you don't even look at the damn quarterback. It's called a clear out route, and Shanahan uses them more than almost anybody. So film all 22 is great, but it's kind of weird because if you don't understand what the play is trying to do and you just isolate one player like, oh, so-and-so is wide open, but you don't recognize that the quarterback's reading right side of the field only, and that's backside, whatever. So like people can get in trouble with that sometimes, but Deebo's effort, you can't question that. He's vying to be on special teams. He's fighting for it. He's fighting to be in the backfield. He don't give a damn. So like somebody that questions Deebo effort, I'm just like, what the hell are you talking about? Like this is no. He's a beast, man.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's nice to see, guys getting the ball and definitely downfield. But that leads me to the latest disrespect of Brock Purdy, and it came from former
this is drum major, right?
I wanted to get
drum
this,
major. Are you showing the video?
I'm about to show the video. It like disappeared for a second as I was gonna say this, but Cam Newton, former Panthers quarterback, was on a podcast and he had some things to say about Brock. Here we go. It disappeared, but I have.
That's the way it goes, man. Every time technology. Is that Murphy's Law?
All right.
Oh, here we go.
Let me see.
Oh Lord.
But Brock, they're not winning because of him.
He's not turning the ball over.
He's managing the game. And if we were to put that in its own right as game managers, Brock, Purdy, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, and really Dak Prescott. These are game managers. They're not difference makers.
And when you say game manager, I'm not asking you to go out and win the game. I'm just asking you not to lose.
Not to lose the game. Listen, motherfucker, I don't give a damn what you do. You don't have to score every time. You just don't have to throw a pick every time either. If we're going to really call a spade, a game manager is different than a game changer.
On that final point, a game manager is different than a game changer. I understand that. But I also feel like there's got to be some nuance there. There's got to be a gray area where there's other quarterbacks who fit in. And I think Brock Purdy is probably in that category. I don't see Brock Purdy as a game manager. I don't see him as being someone who is being asked to not lose the game. Like, at no point in watching Brock Purdy play am I hoping he's not going to lose the game. Because I've watched enough Brock Purdy to know, like, that's just not – we know what that looks like. That's not this. That's not this. And we've seen – the 49ers are the least in, like, pass attempts, but we've also seen situationally Kyle Shanahan and the trust that he has in Brock, the play calling is different. We're seeing some – I don't know, just some of the plays we're seeing we would have never seen in this offense before. That's directly because of Brock Purdy. That is more than managing the game. And so this is crazy to me. And I know that, Cam played the game when he was good, when he was at his peak. He was a game changer. All right. Like, I'll give him that. There's a lot of guys who you could put in that category. I don't think I'd put Brock in the game changer category, but he's definitely not in the game manager category. That's all I want to say.
First of all, Cam Newton was a game changer because because the guy was 295 pounds, 6'7", and can run over people. He was bigger than running backs. Let's just keep it a buck. He was a game changer because he did that. Because Ron Rivera said, F my offense. I'm going to build this around the Auburn offense and let you be you.
That's the system quarterback, which you just described, by the way.
All I'm trying to say is, like, for him, first of all, he came out on that podcast about a couple of weeks ago and talked a little different about allowing quarterbacks to be themselves. Brock Purdy comes in here, and for the first time, Shanahan is allowing his quarterback to be himself. Now, Cam just proved to me that he doesn't watch 49ers football. Like he's just like everybody else. They look at statistics, and what's that stat you said, Steph, before you started saying your take? You said that they had the least pass attempts or something like that. Yeah. That's they don't need to pass the ball because they can run it down your throat. And when they do pass the ball, it's highly effective. And how is it that Brock Purdy has 23 touchdowns? The second most yards in the league? I don't have the stuff right in front of me as a passing quarterback, and they have the least attempts. Make that make sense, Cam freaking Newton. And here's the thing. I used to like Cam Newton. I liked him when he played football. I don't like him when he talks. You can take that however you want it. But at the end of the day, Cam, if you're on drugs, you got to stay off the drugs, dog. Or you could just come on this show and we can watch 49er football together. Because you was that dude. You was good. You were that dude. You were a game changer. But you know what? I don't know what would make Brock a game changer, but he doesn't have to change the games when he's motherfucking dominating the games. Leave it at that.
Oh,
that's it. That's my only F-bomb for the rest of the day.
It was warranted. And yeah, I'm going to give a nuanced take on this as well. Like, there's Cam Newton, the player, who you could argue his MVP year was incredible. He had one of the worst supporting casts ever. But that's the thing. You asked a question earlier. Somebody put a thing in. I would rather win a Super Bowl than have Brock win MVP. Cam Newton would disagree with that. Cam Newton would rather win MVP than win a Super Bowl.
And that's the
who
difference.
He was. And again, I don't understand why anybody cares what Cam Newton says outside of, when he's not on the field. I don't know if y'all remember the comment where he told like girls they need to shut up and cook and they need to keep quiet and clean. Like, that's who this guy is. So I don't really give a damn what this drum major dressing looking like dude says off the field, because I think hopefully he's grown, but I don't want to hear this dude talk. And on top of that too, you look at, like, what did he do? He even threw in Dak Prescott, right? Guess who took his Oikos freaking sponsorship after he was saying all that stuff?
He's
Dak
salty,
Prescott
dog.
did.
He's salty.
That's what
he's
that
salty
is.
Yogurt. That's what he is.
So I don't give a damn what he says off the field. Again, MVP, you can't take that away from him. Yes, he was a dynamic player. Awesome. The dude's a POS, man. He's a piece of crap. And I don't give a damn what he says. And you look at Brock, I'm so thankful that Brock's not like him. So whenever he said, these guys aren't that, I was this, you're right. And I'm glad we don't have that, because it's about the team. And every single time, like, people put this narrative out there about Brock, check down. And then you go into a press conference and Brock Purdy will talk longer about a check down than he will a deep throw. You'll ask him about a deep pass and he'll be like, yeah, Deebo ran a great route. And they'll be like, oh, walk us through this. And he'll talk for 5 minutes about a check down, because it's not about him. It's not about him. Everything's about Cam. And I'm thankful that dude's not on this team and we ain't got nothing to do with guys like that, because that doesn't belong here. Brock belongs here.
Brock was asked about this whole MVP conversation and all that. And what did he do? He talked about his teammates. Like, perfect example right there, because Brock's a very, very humble guy. But yeah, like, there's so much wrong with what people are saying, and they're telling on themselves, truly. Like, so many people are telling on themselves, and what they're telling me is they don't watch 49er games, right, Wayne? Like,
they just don't. There's no way that they can.
There's no way.
Make those statements unless he's being paid to say dumb shit. Like, that's it. That's the only way I can even accept that making sense. Because even and I hate the Cowboys, right? There's nothing about the Cowboys that I like other than Trey Lance being on the team, but he's never going to get an opportunity. But here's the thing. Like, you can't say that Dak is a game manager. Every year this dude throw over 4,000 yards. How is that game managing? Like that doesn't even make sense. And I don't like him. And Tua was starting the year off as the MVP favorite all year long, and still is an MVP candidate. So how is he a game
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I mean, Tua look a little different without Tyreek Hill, but
and Brock and to be fair, right? That happens because Brock Purdy looked a little different without Deebo Samuel. So let's just be fair. That's just being fair. If you're missing that explosiveness, it's gonna be different. it's gonna look a little different. You got to figure out other ways to find that explosiveness, and that's what happens when you lose your most explosive player, because that's what Deebo is.
Mhm.
I heard Shady McCoy speak, and for the first time he opened his mouth, because he's another guy that probably shouldn't open his mouth. For the first time he said something. I don't want to even say it was nice, but he said something about Deebo being the best football NFL player he's ever seen with the ball in his hand. That coming from McCoy, that's huge, because I watched Shady McCoy do some stuff with the football in his hand. And he was saying like from a wide receiving position. That's what he made that disclaimer. And he stood on it, because when Deebo gets the ball, there's a possibility of a 1-yard catch going 99 yards every single time. Not just because he's fast. The best play in this game that we just watched wasn't the 54-yard touchdown, because he burnt Jamal Adams. It was the catch where he almost scored and got the rushing touchdown right after. It was catch it, get off me, and I'm going to the end zone with 3 people on my back. That was his best play, because he still almost got in if his knee didn't touch down. And if he would have caught that, he would have had another, he wouldn't have broke the record for 19 rushing touchdowns. So I'm glad he didn't get in. But I'm just saying, like, for quarterbacks to not have their most explosive player, it's going to look a little different. Because I don't think Travis Kelce is healthy, and that's why Mahomes is struggling. But his most explosive player is now with the Miami Dolphins, and that's why Tua looks different.
Yeah, and someone said Patrick Mahomes looks different, right? Like without Tyreek Hill, that's kind of catching up to him too. But I see what you're saying. I think you can poke holes into the argument of any of the quarterbacks, honestly, as far as like the MVP conversation goes. Like, I could poke holes in the Dak Prescott argument. I could poke holes in the Tua. People could poke holes in the Brock Purdy one too. But all those guys do deserve to be in the conversation, and that's all I'm saying. That's all we're all saying. I'm not sitting here saying that Brock Purdy should win the MVP over all of those guys, but he deserves to be in the conversation. That's it. And he deserves to not be called a game manager.
I'm saying,
and that's fair, John.
I'm saying it too.
Yeah.
But everybody's
and that's
totally
fair.
Yeah.
And that's totally fair. I think so. For me, it's Tyreek Hill and Brock, and I think Dak, could be in that mix too. I want to see Dak play against a better, defense against, but he looked good against Philly, so I'll give him that. James, you figured out how to drop in a super chat. Shout out James.
Oh.
Said, Steph, take this 20 spot and put it towards your next flight to Oakland. Thanks everyone for great content. I appreciate you, James. Definitely gonna try to make it out there for a playoff game. I didn't get tickets yesterday, but I'm a find a way in that thing. No matter what, right? We always got to make it out for the playoffs. Definitely starting to think about Vegas too. Ooh. I might have to sleep in my car. I don't care. So we'll make it happen. What about you guys? You guys planning to make any of the playoff games?
All of them.
All of them, he said. All of them. I love it. I love it.
Vegas is going to be, if we make it. We got big things planned. Big things planned.
Come on, man. We making it. We got to speak it into existence, right?
Yes.
All right, 49ers throwback. Shout out for the super chat. What can you say about Nick Wright hating on Brock Purdy? And do you think Brock can still get better? Also, I like that Kyle is evolving. All right. I like this one. First, I'll say I don't listen to Nick Wright. I know a lot of people like post his videos online and, outraged about Nick Wright. They at him, they mention him, saying like, what do you think about Brock Purdy now every single week? Nick Wright is like the least of my concern. Like, I literally do not care what he says, what he thinks. Like, he's irrelevant to me as far as his opinion. No offense to Nick Wright, but as far as Brock getting better, yes, I do think he could get better. I think he gets better every week. Like, that's crazy to say, but I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback improve like incrementally like this much in a season. Like, I think I always sense that after a season is when a quarterback is going to improve the most. And then next season, okay, you'll work on that next season. He'll be different next season. But Brock Purdy, like, I've seen so many things improve just this season. And you got to think about the fact he didn't even have an off season to work with. So everything that he's doing in season and is game by game. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm seeing new wrinkles out of Brock Purdy, and it's been really cool. And we see Kyle evolving. And again, I think that's a direct relationship with Brock Purdy's growth too, because now Kyle is like, oh, shoot, I trust you with this. All right, let's see what else you can do, kind of thing. And then we see Brock Purdy grow. So it's a two-way street for both of those guys. I think we're seeing both of those guys grow together, and that's really cool because they have a lot of years to do it together, right? Well, pause, but you know what I mean. To grow together as a play caller and as a quarterback. So that's what I'm excited about for this group. What do you guys think?
Well, far as Nick Wright is concerned, I mean, he getting paid to say whatever. I think he's the antagonist in this situation, and then that's the role he's gonna have to stick with. And I like it because now Brock has one person he can prove wrong each and every week. And I don't know how much longer he can go with being wrong about Brock Purdy, but it is what it is. As far as Kyle Shanahan evolving, I just think Kyle finally has his quarterback. He has a competent young man. I think competency is the key in Kyle Shanahan's offense, and it allows him to do so much more. Because every year we watch Kyle Shanahan kind of get stripped. Coaches go to other teams. He's got to bring this person inside, try to get somebody from the outside. We never give the coaches time to adjust, right? We expect them to come right away and just bang, bang, bang and hit, but they need time to gel as well with their players. And, for Kyle Shanahan, I think this is why he's evolving, because he has the most important position filled with the most important player. So even if Brock doesn't get MVP, he's definitely the most important player on the San Francisco 49ers, because without Brock, like, nothing else works. You could run the ball all day, but when they stack 8 in the box to take away their run, what are you going to do? John already talked about that. And that's what we've been living through the last several years as San Francisco 49er fans. We're like, dang, they got 7, 8 people in the box. Like, Jimmy can't, just throw it over them. Nah. It would throw it right to the linebacker. Not to take shots at Jimmy, but that's what we do. So now you got a guy named Brock, and he's just really competent, and he's very accurate. And I think those things right there allows Kyle Shanahan not to necessarily like dig in his playbook or get super creative, but you talked about it earlier, Steph. The T word is strong right now, and you're watching Kyle Shanahan show for the first time he trusts his quarterback.
Yeah, I love it. And, just back to the super chat, like, I'll say this, like, I don't mess with anything that has to do with Fox Sports, ESPN, or Sports Illustrated anymore, which is crazy because Sports Illustrated, ESPN were my childhood. My favorite time of the entire month was when that Sports Illustrated came in the mail. I was the happiest kid in the world. That and East Bay. Anybody remember East Bay?
I definitely do. But wait, before you go, have you ever ordered anything out of East Bay? I've never ordered. Really? Yeah. I was scared. I thought it was never going to come.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And it was awesome. But like those platforms are just clickbait, emotional, whatever. That's all it is. Not saying there's not some good people in those networks. There are. They're anomalies now because their entire platform is just designed to piss people off. And that's okay. There's a place for that. And if you want to be angry and you want to be energized and you just want emotional takes, there's a place for that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that's not for me. You don't learn anything from watching that. They don't even watch the games. They don't. And those people don't even understand football. They don't. Colin Cowherd doesn't watch football. He doesn't watch it. Like, he does not watch football. And so those places, they're there for that. But I'm sorry. I surround myself with people like this, Wayne and Steph, because these are people that care about others, are positive, and actually know what the hell they're talking about. So I don't give a damn what that dude says. I have it blocked every way from Sunday. Don't ever want to see any of that stuff. Can Brock grow? Yeah, he's 23. Is Kyle evolving? 1,000%. Sky's the limit for the future, guys.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I'll say this. I'll end that conversation with, if Brock Purdy isn't going to be the MVP this year, that's fine. He's going to be in the conversation many more years, I think. So he's going to continue to grow. He's going to continue to get better. Kyle Shanahan's going to continue to grow as a play caller. This offense, I think, is going to continue to get better. Crazy to say, but it's true. James says, John, I'm hitting the road to Phoenix today. I'll see you down there. Anybody got a ticket to the game they want to sell? Guys, tap in and make sure if you guys have an extra ticket, hit up James. He's trying to get in that thing. All right, y'all. Well, I appreciate all of you tuning in on a Wednesday morning. Make sure you guys like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, not just on my channel, but John and Wayne's as well. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your Wednesday, rest of your week. But for now, folks, peace.